Hello, welcome to the Football Fan Show podcast for this week. I'm Denny Harrington, and on this week's podcast, I should say, that we are talking about the England team for the European Championships. We're also going to be talking about the various managerial merry-go-rounds at Celtic, Real Madrid, potentially PSG, Tottenham, Inter, and various other clubs, including Everton as well. Thanks for tuning in this week, and we have our review of the season's podcast special coming out. It might be in two parts, but it's coming out over the next 2 weeks before the European Championships begin. Thank you for sticking with us this season, and let's get on with the podcast. Liam Barry is my guest today. How many right backs do you think should be in the England team? I think
as many as possible.
Yeah.
As someone who played right back myself, I think you can never have enough. They're also versatile. Pep's proved how versatile right backs are, anyways, isn't he? What did he do with Philip Lahm? Well, I suppose Philip Lahm he played left back, though, didn't he? Right-footed left back. But still, full backs in general, just as many of them as you can. They can play anywhere.
Next weekend, because we're not doing a show because it's the last one of the season, I have decided that we're going to play Football Manager 2021 at Euro 2021, and the England team is just going to be made up of right backs, and we're going to see how far we can take the England team just made up of right backs in that tournament. Even the goalkeeper will be a right back.
Well, naturally, and you go for Kyle Walker for that because he's got experience.
Exactly. So yes, will a team of England right backs win the European Championships? We'll find out on this channel next week. Just let's cover off some of the news headlines. Spurs being Spurs, trying to approach Antonio Conte, and clearly he got his English phrase book out very quickly to say, no, me no speak English.
It seemed like it would always be destined to end in tears anyway. I mean, you've got a manager who's just so fiery in that, and I think the temperament of the squad itself. I mean, Mourinho was hard on them and would shout and everything like that, but Conte's another level.
He's insane.
One of the famous quotes about him, I think it was Nicky Bandini who I heard said it was that someone had said his words assault you. Like, you see him on the sidelines, like he's a man possessed, and I can't see Son or Dele Alli or anybody really responding to that in that squad, and also he's fallen out with the board at like most clubs because he just wants them to spend more and more money, and everybody knows Daniel Levy does not want to spend money. That's the last thing. Well, if he's going to spend it, he's spending it right at the stroke of midnight on transfer deadline day. That's only because they spend the whole transfer window with a crowbar trying to get the safe open at White Hart Lane because he's got that money just.
He's just tied up in his chair, and he's just tied up to the chair, and it's like, we need the code to the safe, Daniel.
Torturing him all window.
And then on the final day, with like 15 minutes to go, he's like, fine, I'll give you the code. When was it? Which year did Spurs last win the league? That's the riddle. You figure that out, it's the code. Lovely. I'm not sure who the next Spurs boss is going to be now, because my favourite was Nuno, and now he's apparently... I've got all my managerial predictions wrong, because I saw Conte going to Madrid. I did not see Ancelotti leaving Everton to go to Real Madrid. Nuno's apparently going to be the next Everton boss.
Makes sense.
For some reason, he was being linked with Crystal Palace, and I'm like, you leave Wolves for Crystal Palace? Really?
He was in talks for 3 days, but I think he fell out with the board of it as well over transfers and stuff. And I don't know if that's because George Mendes was like, no, Nuno, you're having these players from Portugal this year, and we're going to sell these ones on, or what. But very, very interesting.
Bruno Lage set to be appointed the new Wolverhampton Wanderers manager. He was in charge of Benfica last season. Not this. Is it this season? Last season? The season before. This season's over. It's last season. It's the season before that.
The 1920 season.
The 1920 season. When 1860 Munich was still in the Bundesliga. Or no, predating the Bundesliga. Yeah, so Everton, Ancelotti's gone to Real Madrid, which I did not see happening. Everton, you know what? We're going to have a situation. Somebody pointed this out to me. Callum, who does this show, pointed this out to me. You're going to have not the El Clasico next season, the El Evertono, because you've got Barcelona and Real Madrid both having ex-Everton managers.
How far they've fallen.
You know what I really want to happen, though? I do want Belgium to win the European Championship, so Roberto Martinez wins the European Championship, and then Everton fans can just say, why the heck were all these managers so shit for us? And then they just work out the common denominator is Everton. Yes.
Martinez was also linked with the Spurs job, wasn't he?
Oh, nah. Yeah, he was actually. Yeah, I did see that, but no.
He's having a lovely old time with Belgium, isn't he? So his stock is high because of it.
Yeah, he's got his perfect job, hasn't he?
Yeah, just stay where you are. You work a little bit every year, and you get paid really well for it.
Yeah, so much so that Thierry Henry's rejoined Belgium as one of their many, many, many assistant managers. I think he's got like 2 or 3 with the Belgian national team.
I think he's just an attacking coach. To be fair, I think I said before. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Henry as a footballer. He was amazing. He was amazing for Arsenal and France. But, jeez, he should not be a manager.
No.
Let him coach. Let him show people how to finish. Finish like this. Fine.
Stick to the Renault adverts on Sky Sports, and the Vavavoom adverts, and all that jazz. Steve Cooper, the Swansea City manager, is now the favourite for the Crystal Palace job. It seems like everybody that I thought would get these management jobs have somehow managed to talk their way out of it. Thanks, Eddie Howe. We talked about that last week. But now Eddie Howe's like the third favourite for the Crystal Palace job. I can't wait for him to talk himself out of that one as well. And then he'll get linked with whatever job is next. I saw it was like the 4th or 5th favourite for the Everton job, and if they spoke to him, they'd probably talk his way out of that one as well.
Yeah, I think he's the new Alan Kirbishley.
That's a good shout, because last week I was so angry. Like, I was literally like, no, Eddie Howe, you've misunderstood the point. You accept whatever offer Celtic give you, because that's your opportunity to rebuild your career. Get a break from the Premier League, rebuild your reputation, and then come back. Don't just go, don't really fancy it without the backroom team I want, and then just sit on the sidelines for ages. He's not a great pundit either, so Sky Sports aren't going to come calling.
Yeah. Well, and we know he's rubbish on Sky Sports anyways.
Yeah. The last time he was on Sky Sports, the Monday Night Football, I think they should just they should give Morrissey and the Smiths a call just to create some backing music for Eddie Howe, because it just feels like he's just like, yeah, I achieved this, but
a little lost boy.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting back in the Premier League anytime soon, which is disappointing, because I thought he was reasonably good. But yeah, Alan Kirbishley might be a good shout. Also, Sol Campbell's been in the news this week. He's desperate to manage, and has asked why won't people give him a chance. I have some very firm opinions on Sol Campbell, but I will keep my mouth shut for a moment. And
I think with Campbell, then he should be looking. I know he wants to be a manager, and he did a decent job at. I think we said about this before. Was it Macclesfield or somebody like that?
Yep.
And he kept him in the Football League. Brilliant. Didn't work so well with Southend. Maybe it's worth for him just trying to just get a coaching role somewhere. Let's get a job as a coach somewhere, and then over time then maybe you'll get the opportunity. I know obviously there's the topic around there not being enough black managers and black coaches in the game. It's absolutely true, but I don't think with Sol Campbell, it's necessary to do with his race. I think there's quite a lot of things that that sort of come out. And his kind of media kind of presence and stuff around things. And like one minute he wants to be the mayor of London, and he's going on the politics route, and then next minute he's like, "Oh, I've got a Premiership manager's job." And maybe there's a bit of, well, what was it you really want to do? So we don't know what you want to do, so we don't necessarily know how committed you are to us as a club and whatever. I don't know, but I think there's more. I think there's a bit more to it.
I think it reeks of he wants a stepping stone, and I don't think many clubs want to give him that opportunity because he'll be there for a season. He's only ever managed clubs for one season, and then he's left. He's not the most loyal person. Well, I say that he left Tottenham as a player to join Arsenal. Of course, he's not the most loyal person.
Well, that was a smart decision. But
I mean, of course, you're going to say that. I'm sure if any Tottenham fans ring in, they'll give you a contrary point of view in the nicest possible terms.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you should definitely just get into a club somewhere and just get, like you say, about loyalty and stuff. Maybe he just needs to get into a club and lay some roots. Be a coach there, coach some of the youth teams and stuff, and support the first team and that, and get your opportunity that way. Maybe. I think he's, in a way, it feels a little bit like he's just trying to trade on his name, going, hang on, I'm Sol Campbell, I can do a good job for you because I played at the highest level, so you should give me a job. And I know that there's a lot of players who just walk into jobs after retiring, and that hasn't happened for him. That clearly is a sticking point for him. And yeah, maybe he should have been given some opportunities. I don't know. I don't know what his abilities are as a coach. I don't know kind of how well he did coming out of his badges and stuff, and how highly rated he was within the setup that were within the FA setup, and that maybe that's the thing. Maybe he needs to talk to the FA and see if there's anything he can get involved with England in some way. I think
that would make sense, or maybe he should be like a youth team coach at Arsenal or something like that. Maybe you should start like I'm always like, if you immediately retire, you should go to be the youth team coaches to pass on your knowledge as a player to the next generation of talent, and then you work your way up the coaching ladder. Sorry, everything about me is working your way up the ladder, and I'm like the least qualified person to ever do that because I have never worked a day in my life that hard. So I've never climbed any career ladder whatsoever. I'm a middle-class white guy. What is it? A middle-class straight white guy. So yay. Everyone on the internet hates me. But there are other reasons for that as well. Look, don't get me wrong. I've said I don't like Sol Campbell. I don't like him because he's a Tory. I don't like him because he was a conservative from a working class area, and I just find that repugnant. But
that's not for now, is it?
That's not for now. But yeah, that's why I don't like him. I hold a personal grudge, and I'm so glad that he didn't become Swindon Town manager. Very good. Celtic, who the heck are they appointing as their manager? Like, I've never heard of this guy in my life. We were talking about this last week, and they're going for the current Yokohama F Mariners boss, who is a former Australian national team coach.
Yep.
And is doesn't necessarily have, what was it, the right coaching badges to manage Celtic? Which
the last time an English club took a relatively unknown manager from Japan.
Oh, come on! I know where this is going now. Go on, finish your thought.
A British club. Then, why can't this work out for Celtic? Why can't this guy come in, revolutionise Scottish football, and wipe the floor with Gerrard and Rangers? Although, Gerrard might not even be there because, just jumping back to the managerial merry-go-round, he's been linked to the Everton job. And he said recently as well, his thing about being a one-club man. He's like, I appreciate that's not always going to be the case anymore. So
To be fair, if Steven Gerrard became Everton manager, all the Liverpool fans would do was look at it and go, "Yeah, he's just stepped onto the ladder. He's going to work his way up to managing the big boys very soon. He's just managing the Merseyside junior team, and then he'll eventually work his way up to Liverpool." And I can't even say his name. Ange Postecoglou. Oh God, shit with names. Sorry. Postecoglou or something like that. He's the former Australian national team boss. He's Greek, and he's the current boss at Yokohama F Mariners.
So is he Greek or is he Greek Australian?
I thought he was Greek Australian, but apparently he is Greek. But he
I said, okay, as if that's going to make a difference. It
doesn't really matter.
I still don't know anything about him.
He coached the Australian team at the 2016 World Cup.
Oh, and they did amazingly well, didn't they?
Didn't they win it?
No, they didn't. I think.
He apparently he likes to play football the right way, which obviously means pass and move and attacking.
Does it?
Ask
Sam Allardyce. He's got a very different opinion. So is Tony Pulis.
Yes, exactly. By the way, last week we started our campaign to get Sam Allardyce a new job. We want him to be the spokesperson for Greggs.
I kind of like the idea of like a barbershop quartet with Sam Allardyce, Tony Pulis, Neil Warnock, and Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche in a barbershop quartet. He sounds like he's got one of those...
a bit of texture.
Yeah.
He's having a bit of texture with that voice.
He sounds like he's smoked 12 packs a day for the last 10 years, 15 years of his life. Mr. Topic says, did Conte get a job? No, he did not. He did not. I have no idea where Antonio Conte is going to go, because I thought he would go to Real Madrid. Tottenham's approach is laughable. Maybe Everton.
He can't go back to Juve, can he? Because obviously they've got Allegri back in there. So Zidane. So I was wrong about Zidane going there. I still think. I think
we've all been wrong. Apparently, though, Zidane has come out and says he wants an instant return to management. Now, Zinedine Zizou, I would strongly advise that you do not do that and ruin your debatable legacy, in my opinion. Wait till the French national team.
Go straight back in as Everton manager.
I mean, last week we were chatting about him becoming Doncaster Rovers manager, because somebody brought it up in the chat, and we were just like, let's just say, weird world, Doncaster Rovers appoint Zinedine Zidane. Poch becomes manager of Accrington Stanley.
Well, because, like you've said before, you want them all to work their way up, so...
Oh, no, last week, to be fair, last week's show just descended into comedy, so we got called, myself and Callum, who were on the show last week, got called the Twitch equivalent of Saint and Greavesy, which I loved, by the way.
Oh, wow.
That's high praise. That is high praise. We are still trying to get Donald Trump to do the League Cup draw on this show. But we, one, don't know anyone at the EFL that will let us do that, and two, we don't know Donald Trump either. But I can tan myself up, wear a shit wig, and pretend to be Donald Trump. I can kind of do the voice. Lazio.
Do it.
Do I have to?
Yeah, a whole League Cup draw.
Number one. That's Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley, great team, great club. I've heard of them.
Yes.
I've heard of them. I've heard of them.
Yes.
Number 3, Oldham Athletic. Great club. This is an interesting one. Number 7, Sheffield Wednesday. They've got an owl as their logo. Oh, sorry, that's Roy Hodgson. That's Roy Hodgson on their badge.
No, it's very good, and I definitely think everyone would appreciate a full cup draw.
Just with Donald Trump. Yes. Zidane is going to go to PSG if Poch gets the sack. I could see that happening. says Mr. Topic on Twitch. Yeah, I can see that happening.
When
Yeah, but when
Mr.
will he be
Topic,
sacked?
when do you think Poch would be sacked? Do you think that's something that's imminent, or are we talking like, if this next season doesn't go well because he didn't win the league this year? I know he came in halfway through and they were in a bit of turmoil anyways and had injury problems and stuff, and it's a weird season. Or do you mean because of the alleged links with Spurs, going back to Spurs, and apparently he asked to have
He's
to be able to go
apparently
and talk to him?
unhappy. He's apparently unhappy in Paris, so I don't know.
Yeah.
This topic. Explain yourself. And he also
Explain yourself, man.
God damn it! And he
get
also,
Trump on that.
Mr. Topic also asks, who will get the Inter Milan job? Who will be the new manager of Internazionale? Aren't they appointing the Lazio? They've appointed the Lazio manager.
Yeah, Simone Inzaghi.
So that's that sorted. Of course,
They acted quite quickly with that one, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, within a couple of days, within 2 or 3 days of Conte leaving, he was replaced. I don't expect Inter to retain. Well, no one expects him to retain the title. I
don't know. Inzaghi's been doing a decent job, and obviously on a much smaller budget as well. So that would give
that's
sort of credence as to
true.
why they've gone for him.
But it's a fire sale at Inter apparently because their Chinese owners have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, well, because they own the club that won the
CSL,
Chinese Super League, didn't they? And then just shut it down straight away.
Yeah, they just went nope. Fosun International Group, who own 60% of Inter Milan, and although Lukaku came out to talk to the Belgian media to say that he's already spoken to the new Inter boss and says he wants to stay and wants to fight for another title, which I like his fantastic loyalty. I'd keep him just based on that. I'd be like, yes, sure.
I think fair play to him because I know he's been linked with a return to Chelsea, but in my eyes, I don't see why would he do it. He was at Chelsea. He had 2 spells at Chelsea. They didn't really work out well for him. Obviously, he had time at United as well, and
he was better at West Brom and Everton.
West Brom and Everton, yeah. And I think there's a bit of he's kind of been typecast as a flat track bully in the Prem, where it's like he'll score against the lesser teams, but he won't score against the top teams, and also just everyone's just focusing on him in training, looking at his shit touch. So why would you want to come back to that? Stay in Italy when you're an absolute hero.
Mr. Topic has responded and has said that PSG didn't win the league. PSG should be winning the league considering their squad, and Poch wants to go to Spurs. So I assume he means now that Poch might. To be fair, there is precedent for this where managers have gone, yeah, you know what, I'm not feeling it, I might just go see what that club wants, and then they come back and then suddenly it's what's this? Oh, number P45.
Yeah, maybe they've said to him like, look, because of the renewal of Neymar's contract, and they're trying to renew Mbappe's contract. Maybe that eats up a large portion of the transfer budget, and Poch has been told he's not got a lot to spend. I know what with PSG he should be absolutely fine, and also as well, like they've got arguably the best youth team in that in France. That Ile-de-France region that they pluck players from is immense, but none of them are making it through into the PSG side. So maybe he's been told, actually, you can't go out and buy anyone. You've got to use youth players, and he's just like, do you know what? I've done that. I should be able. I should be.
I did that at Tottenham. Did you see what I did?
Yeah, in Southampton. I want to be a checkbook manager now.
I want what all the other top managers have. I want to spend my shit.
But maybe he's then gone, well, I'm going to go talk to Spurs then. As if you're not going to give me what I want, I'm going to go. I want to go somewhere else trying to call their bluff. And maybe Mr. Topic's right, and bam, Zidane's in.
Zizou's in at PSG, taking on another, quite frankly, easy job. I imagine Leonardo, the sporting director at PSG, just went to him. Okay, if that's the case, okay, we haven't got any money. We want you to use the youth team players. We've spent a lot of money on the youth team. We want you to start integrating these players into the first team. Okay, I'm going to go to Spurs, and I'm like, So your argument is that you want to spend money whilst you're here at PSG and you're going to go talk to Spurs. Good luck with that.
Famously won't spend money.
As we were saying, Daniel Levy tied up in a chair until transfer deadline day when he finally gives the code to the safe. Mr. Topic, talking about Steven Gerrard again, we literally just said before you came along that Liverpool fans will just say, oh, he's just managing the B team, he's just managing the kids, the Merseyside Blue, as Pez calls them. It'll be them, and then he'll join the real team in Liverpool. But he was apparently. Is it true that he was an Everton fan as a kid, or is that Carragher? Well, Carragher was an Everton fan. But I thought Gerrard was as well. I wasn't sure whether Gerrard was.
Maybe Gerrard for Spurs.
I know Carragher got told off once for celebrating on a youth team when he was in the Liverpool youth team. He was on the bus. He got told off for celebrating an Everton goal because he's an Everton fan. And he's like, of course I'm going to celebrate an Everton goal. I'm an Everton fan, but I don't think he's an Everton fan anymore after years of service to their arch rival.
Beaten out of him.
Yeah, it's been forced education. Let's just say that. Just
gonna cheer now, Jamie. Are ya?
I also want to ask, since we're on a comedy track here, I also want to ask: is it wrong that I hate Wayne Rooney because he's a dick to me on Football Manager 2021? He's kept calling me overrated, and then I beat him 2-0, and he got sacked 2 weeks later. There you go, you overrated wanker.
No, I think it's fair to hold grudges against fictional versions of real people.
Yes,
but that's fine.
Fantastic.
I think it's fine to bear grudges against people for anything. I still absolutely despise a man who ID'd me for white spirit in Wilkinson's once when I was 18. I was fuming because I didn't have my ID on me. I had to go all the way back to work to get it from my locker to then come back and get the white spirit. I'm still fuming about it now. I'm 35. I should be past this, but I'm not.
Still on your list. Still on the list.
I mean, granted, he's a real person and not a fictional version of Wayne Rooney, but I think it's absolutely fair, Dan. You hold grudges against whoever you
want. Well, he ended up getting sacked 2 weeks later after we beat him. So,
well,
thank you.
Maybe he should have focused on his job.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, right? In Football Manager, you can add the additional comments. I just put, well done, Wayne. You've finally won something as a manager. You've won my sympathy on being shit. Oh, lovely. Bielsa, Manager of the Year for Bielsa. We'll get into the awards in a bit. The England team then for Euro 2020. Apart from the bazillion right backs that we have in the team, I'm disappointed about Trent. Obviously, picking up that injury in the friendly, and he's been ruled out. That was, I'm not as if it was the usual 2-year cycle, I would feel a little bit more sorry for him. But then next year there's the World Cup in Qatar, so I don't feel sorry for him as much as I probably should.
If anything, it might be.
He'll be in the squad next year in Qatar, so
it'll probably benefit him and England. Because if you think about it, it means he would have had a rest. You then got you've got the Qatar World Cup, which I don't know. Will Walker and Trippier still be knocking about for that? You'd think you'd hope that we start to kind of phase those guys out now, not because they're not good enough anymore, but we need to you need to keep evolving, don't you? And maybe that's one of the things we don't do so well with England. But he's injured, deal with it, call up Wan-Bissaka or Callum Chambers to take his place as our fourth right back, and then on we go.
Can we call up another midfielder? I saw that there were already like 5 midfielders, and I'm just, I know there are people that are technically classed as forwards that can drop back, but still, it's just doesn't sit right. Doesn't sit right with me.
Get Smith Rowe in there.
Mr. Topic says Wan-Bissaka over Chambers any day.
I would never admit that. No, I'm joking. Defensively, Wan-Bissaka is good. I just don't really like him going forward.
No.
And also, this is absolutely the time for Southgate to kind of Trent's kind of let him off the hook, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
People aren't now talking about the fact that we have 4 right backs. Why haven't we got another midfielder in or whatever? It would be great though if he just called up another goalie. Just is so absolutely ridiculous. Even more ridiculous than 4 right backs.
I'm already doing one stream with with an England team full of right backs. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't call up just a legendary England right back or something.
Have you thought of what your 11 would be for those right backs yet?
I've not focused on it at all. I've not given it one thought. Maybe.
I'd be interested. I'm interested to see that 11.
I will finalise it next week, and I will send it to you. My 11 right backs that will play for England in Euro 2021. Trent Alexander-Arnold will be fit for that, so he is in contention.
Yeah. Max Aarons, of course.
Oh God. I'm just worried about who's going in goal.
Kyle Walker.
I mean, yeah, but who's his number 2?
Well, yeah, that is. I've got nothing more for you there.
Kyle Walker in goal. That's the guarantee. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who his number 2 is. Maybe I'll call somebody up from the Championship or someone.
Can do it. It'd be amazing.
Before we get to our rewards, let's have a look, because every year Sky Sports releases a list of the released player XI, where you can pick your starting 11 from released players. Why do this? I've got no idea. But
I like it.
I just find it a massive waste of time. Andy Carroll. To be fair, it's the only reason I found out Andy Carroll got released by Newcastle.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. Well, not surprised because he's crap, but surprised that Newcastle let him go considering the way that they play.
Well, he may... Because they've got until like the 23rd of June to finalise that list, I think, the clubs. So there is still time for him to... I say there's still time for him to like renegotiate a contract. They just haven't renewed his contract yet. They might do that later on.
There's still time. Mr. Topic says, I'm a Manchester United fan and I rate Bissaka highly. He's the best tracker in the world, maybe. Number 2 behind Kante. Well, definitely number 2 behind... Well, there's nobody better than Kante.
What tracker is in the wilderness? Following footprints. He can pick up a trail like no one's
I think he
business.
just means tracking the ball.
Nah, of course, I know what he means.
Kante, you can't... Kante's the best in the world. He's just... I still think he's underrated, Kante, and he's just so damn good. I can't believe Frank Lampard ever considered getting rid of him.
I think just after that season when Sarri was like trying to push him forward, I want him to do more. Why? What he does is brilliant.
My eyesight's terrible. It said tackler, not tracker. Tackler.
Right. So
my eyesight's terrible. My eyesight's terrible. Apologies, Mr.
Wan-Bissaka he's a good defender. Like I said before, it's just for me, I think he lacks a little bit going forward, which is probably me and Gareth tend to be in tune, so that's probably why he hasn't made the squad.
I'm just going to ask this one last question on the England team. Are you disappointed that the most important call-up has not been made for Euro 2020, the waistcoat?
Do we know that it hasn't? Is it just?
Well, he's already confirmed that he's not taking it.
Maybe he's got a new one. Maybe he's got some new fashion thing. What new fashion thing can happen? Maybe he's not going to wear a tie this time. He's going to wear a cravat.
You know what? I think he should go the Sam Allardyce route at the Monaco Grand Prix. Socks with sandals, Hawaiian shirt, terrible bucket hat, just like stereotypical Englishman abroad. Just go for it. Fag in mouth, beer in hand.
On his Hawaiian shirt, though, would he have a big 3 lions? Yes. I mean, it would have to be an official one, wouldn't it? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think the waistcoat belongs in 2018. It was a magical waistcoat for a magical summer.
Still sold out in M&S.
Maybe he needs to just have a chat with Nagelsmann. Maybe they could go on a shopping trip together. He's like, come on, Gareth, we all know you need some of those invisible socks now. Get them in. Maybe some bright red trousers or something. Who knows? But Nagelsmann's got all sorts of rascal gear going on, hasn't he? And maybe he could just a little shopping trip with Gareth, and that could sort him out, ready for the Euros. That's what I'd like.
No M&S sellouts this year. Thank you very much. I can't believe that was a thing in 2018, 3 years ago, that M&S had sold out of waistcoats because of Gareth bloody Southgate. I'm surprised M&S didn't get him for an advert. Play some Groove Armada in the background. This isn't just any waistcoat. This is Gareth Southgate's waistcoat.
I think it's excellent. I think fair play to him for not rolling it out again. It'll be interesting to see if he's if he's got the old inflatable unicorns and they're going to be doing the pool races and stuff, or if he's got some new games. What new games could he possibly have for him to play? Maybe a massive Uno tournament.
Just take your PlayStation 5, get some Mortal Kombat on. Two lads having an issue, finish him. There you go.
What team games would they play? Rocket League? I don't know.
What is it now? What's the one that everyone loves playing? Not Rocket League. What is it? I'm not a gaming person. I don't know. What's the one that the kids play?
Beyond Fortnite, I don't know.
Fortnite. That was the one I was thinking of.
There we go.
See, I'm not a gamer.
Then they get Mesut Ozil join in. Oh, Mesut, get out!
You're not even in the England team, for God's sakes. But I just wanted to, join and have fun. Sideshow Bob's left Arsenal. How are you sad about this, or are you happy about this? I mean,
from an on-field perspective, I'm really happy about it. I think you have to accept, if you sign David Luiz, then you've got to kind of accept the rough with the smooth, don't you? He can do some good things, but he's a bit mad, isn't he? And he's always going to have that rush of blood to the head and do something weird. I mean, obviously he had the probably the worst penalty given against him this year, where I'm not even convinced he touched that Wolves player, and he still conceded a penalty.
That's just his luck.
Unbelievable. But by all accounts, he's been excellent off the pitch in the change rooms and that. Great with the young players, and he takes that responsibility quite seriously. So I think on that side of things, that's a loss. But yeah, on the pitch, he's past his best, and that's when we get players from Chelsea, is when they are past their best.
So expect him to turn up somewhere near Arsenal very, very soon. Maybe Crystal Palace.
He'll go past, and because he's still got his restaurants that he's running in London, so he probably doesn't want to leave those. My concern is who we kind of get from the Chelsea bargain bucket next, like from the bin. Is it going to be probably Kepa? Tuchel's just stuck a manager's special sticker on him, reduced him, chucked him out. We'll be sniffing around that, which would be disappointing. I know we were linked to Tammy Abraham as well, and if I'm perfectly honest, I know he had a really good season under Lampard. Started this season sort of quite well, but it's been kind of phased out since Tuchel rocked up. My kind of feelings of him before that were always, I think he lives in like the Earnshaw, Chopra, Huckabee kind of zone of being too good for the Championship but not good enough for the Prem. Yeah, he has had a good run of form over the last sort of 18 months. To be fair to him, but I can't see him being the main man at a top club. And people will say, "Oh, Arsenal are a top club. They finished 8th." Yeah, they are a top club. They're just shit at the moment. all teams go through cycles like that. Liverpool finished like 7th, 8th and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You go through those periods, but I don't think he's going to be your guy who's going to be getting you sort of 20, 25 league goals a season. I don't, not consistently anyways.
When you mentioned that, and we were talking about Conte earlier, I just remember Victor Moses being just not the greatest player in the world, and yet Antonio Conte was able to turn him into like one of the best at Chelsea.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm a big believer in that kind of right time, right manager, right team kind of situation, because you think of this, it happens with so many players, like and especially when they get like big moves and they go to clubs and everyone's like, what bloody hell's happened to this guy? I think of Danny Drinkwater. Him and Kante at Leicester were amazing together, absolutely fantastic. Both of them go to Chelsea. Yeah, Kante's carrying on doing his thing, but Drinkwater couldn't get anywhere near the side. And has never got near it, has he, really? I can't even remember the last time he played for Chelsea. So sometimes it's just being in that environment, just in that right place, right time. But yeah.
Well, let's get on to the awards and review the... Oh, one more thing. Pope is better than Pickford, apparently. I'm not sure about that. Pickford's not the greatest goalkeeper ever, but...
I feel like that's where we're a bit weak at the moment.
Yeah,
we've always had quite a good stream of goalkeepers, haven't we? Really?
Yes,
but,
we've always had. If there's one thing England has always produced, it's always produced pretty damn good goalkeepers. Banks, Shilton, Seaman to a degree. David James is all right.
To a degree.
I mean, he's not as good as Shilton and Banks. No, Shilton and Banks are way better than David Seaman, but come on, Ronaldinho 2002 World Cup, that was Seaman's fault. Why are you off your line there? Why are you breaking my heart, David? Why are you off your line? Stay on your line. Stay on the goal line.
Would you say that to bloody matey from Bayern? I was going to say Bernd Leno, but that's absolutely not him. That's Arsenal. Would you say that to Bernd Leno? Yeah, I would say that to Bernd Leno, because terrible things happen to him when he comes off the line. I
was going to say, I wouldn't say it to David Seaman.
Neuer, Edison, Alisson, they're always off their line.
They're better than David Seaman. To be fair, David Seaman is he was a damn good goalkeeper. I'm more scared. I wouldn't say it to David Seaman's face, so I'm more scared of the ponytail, even though he doesn't have it anymore. No man should have a ponytail and that kind of mustache.
It's too much hair, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just unnerving.
As a man with not much hair, I feel that he was flaunting that.
Yeah,
that is,
it's unnerving. He had a ponytail and a kind of a handlebar mustache, and it wasn't the most. It wasn't the greatest look ever. I'll be honest, but yeah, we've always produced really good goalkeepers, and at the moment, England are currently in a lull because David James was all right. Joe Hart was good for the moment, and then Pep Guardiola came on and ruined him.
He just lost his head, didn't he? He just lost his head, and that was it. I'm waiting if we had anything from Mr. Topic about Henderson yet.
No, nothing yet. I'm sure he'll say something if now that he's been called upon.
I'm not sure on Henderson. Every time I've watched him, he's been great, but I know he is highly rated, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure on Henderson. I just don't like Harry Maguire. I don't want him in the England team. I just don't want him in the England team.
Don't worry, he's not going to be in goal, Dan. I think we'll be all right.
No, I mean, I don't want him anywhere near the England setup. I just want him.
So who would be your first choice centre-back pairing then?
I'm trying to get the squad up on my screen because I cannot find it anywhere for some reason. But I would not have. I feel
like Joe Gomez would have been he'd have been in with a shout for starting had he not been obviously injured for. Well, he's still injured, isn't he? But for most of the season, because he had been playing well, and his partnership with Van Dijk was decent. He was good for Liverpool, but he does seem to get injured quite a lot as well, doesn't he?
Still can't find that England team for some reason. I cannot get the confirmed. I cannot find it anywhere. It's like, well, to be fair, it's not actually confirmed because they're going to make changes after the Romania friendly. So maybe one of the 7 million right backs in the team will get dropped.
Have you talked about the whole playing Lingard?
No.
The other day.
Do you want to go for it?
I think it's just the same as what everybody else has been saying. Is that what's the point? at that point, like Trent wasn't injured, so you'd already told him that he's not going to be in the squad. Yeah, if they want to hang around and train, let them train, but why play him?
Yeah.
I suppose the argument is like, well, if I play him, then I can protect one of my players. That one of my starting 11 or whatever, one of the squad players and stuff to make sure reduce the chance of injury. But you still need to get those guys playing together. So I just, to be honest, it really pissed me off. It's just.
I did see all the memes where it's like
as well, and I kind of agree. Is that what are we really going to kick on and push on with Southgate as the manager? I think he's done a great job to get us to where we are, and we've had a great, we had a great 2018 World Cup. We've got so many players come through, but I don't know if I trust him to get the best out of these players that we've got.
Well, I think the rule, I think a good a good thing to say would be that you don't necessarily have to be a very good club manager to be a successful national team boss.
Absolutely.
We bring up Joachim Low, the German manager, who has one of the most atrocious club management records, like just terrible club manager. And I completely forgot he was out of work in the summer, and he's actually being linked with club jobs. I would avoid him like the plague, purely because he's never been successful as a club manager. All of his success has been with the national team. And I view Gareth Southgate as a similar way, that he's only good for the national team. But put him back at Middlesbrough, he'll never be manager of Aston Villa, because, he just doesn't apparently like him, even though he's an ex-Villa player. Hence, all the Grealish conspiracy theories. Oh, he just doesn't like Villa. Didn't he used to play for you guys? Yeah, but he doesn't like us. That's why he doesn't pick Grealish. I've got
the squad.
Yeah, I've just found it now from the sponsored by Deliveroo. Can they deliver a trophy, please? Henderson, Johnson, and Pickford in goal. Then you got now you haven't got Trent because Trent's out, so that's subject to change. Chilwell, Connor Cody, Reece James, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker. Stones is a starter for me.
If Maguire's out, I think he'll go back three, and it'll be Stones, Cody, and Walker.
Yeah, because what formation do you? Will he play three at the back, or will he play? I'm going three anyway, because I think a lot of those players, those millions of right backs that he's called up, could play as wing backs, and I think that's what he was talking about. In his presser, he was talking about these guys can play wing back, and they can do that job and support the attacking play whilst there are three centre backs. And I'm not a fan of the three centre back thing, but
international football's a bit more of a chess match, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that, so I do see him probably using them as wing backs than right backs and playing a four at the back. Probably depending on who the opponent is, though. I think against a weaker team, he'll probably play three at the back. Maybe against a stronger team, he might think I'll need a bit more solidity in defence, so I might have a few more players back instead of allowing
But I would have thought the way that you play with three at the back nowadays, having that would lend itself more to playing against a better opponent, because you will always have you'll have your three sort of, because most teams play with one up front, don't they?
Yeah.
Generally with
and then you get your normally attacking midfields, and then on the wing. Yeah. So then you get
that tends to be like how in club football. I know that at Arsenal, then when they played three at the back, it tends to be more in previous seasons, maybe not so much this year, but against the bigger teams, just so they can soak up the pressure and then hit them on the break. But I don't know.
I know, it depends how we can't second guess the brain of the
I don't know.
England
That's
national
the thing
team
is, I don't know what more he's got in his locker as a manager. I don't know if he's too scared to try something different. And there's always that thing about with England players, you kind of think, oh, can they only really play one way?
I think Gareth Southgate can only play one
up?
way. I think Gareth Southgate can only play one way.
Yeah, so I think, and the difference going into this tournament from the 2018 World Cup is that as fans, we have expectations now. We expect more because not just because of. Yeah, I think we do.
I don't think this squad is good enough to win. I think maybe. I don't know. I see this team disappointing.
I think there's an I think it feels more. From people I speak to and things you read and hear and that, I think there's more of an expectation that we will go deep in the tournament than there would be in previous years.
So where do you see the minimum? Is it the semi-finals?
So personally, I don't expect us to go as far. Maybe quarters, probably. I'd expect us to get out of the group, and then maybe bow out in the quarters, but only because I think there is still an element of transition going on throughout the squad, and he's taken some players that are coming back to fitness and stuff as well, who they're important in the sense of Maguire and Henderson, but they've been out. Henderson's been out for a long time. And the sound of his injury, I mean, obviously, clearly, in case you didn't know, Dan, I'm no doctor or physio, but when I read about what his injury was, and it just basically sounds like, right, everything in his leg that like eventually kind of attaches to his hip has all pinged off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's just a bit like, shit, that sounds real bad, and he's been out for quite a while. Like, how much of an impact is he going to have in games and stuff? And I know I think in the camp, definitely, because he's a natural leader, isn't he? But we won't have that on the pitch. So you look across the midfield, and you've got like Bellingham. There's no doubt that he's a quality player. Declan Rice has had an excellent season for West Ham. Mason Mount again had an excellent season for Chelsea, and Calvin Phillips. Like I really rate him. I really enjoy watching him as well. But who's going to have that same kind of presence as Henderson on the pitch as a leader? I'm not sure. Maybe Declan Rice. Maybe. I suppose he's got a bit about him in that sense. And I think that's, and it seems like a really kind of basic thing to say, but I look through our team and I don't necessarily really see. Okay, if we're 1-0 down in a game that we really need to win, who's going to rally the team and really and try and lift them to go on and win it? And I I know Kane is the captain, but I think you said last time I was on, you said about seeing him in the Spurs documentary and his kind of team talks before the game, and you're like, if that's it,
it's not enough.
Come on,
it's
guys,
not exactly
we can win this. And you go,
I can imagine.
Inspired now.
I can imagine it's Kane team talk to the England team. Come on, guys! Yeah. I really need to win this tournament because I'm going to win. Fuck all that Spurs. Sorry, the list was in addition.
Daniel won't let me go. This is my only chance of winning anything. Yeah. So that's my kind of concern around it. Is I'm not. And like I said, it feels like it's a real like reductionist kind of basic thing to say, but I don't really feel like we've got a lot of leaders there. We've got a lot of talented players, and it would be great to see them really come together as a team, and see players like Grealish and Foden take their league form into European football, because I think that's something that we tend not to see as well. Like we see these guys week in, week out in the Prem, and you're like, they're fantastic. These guys can really like take the world stage by storm. But then we go to tournaments and then we don't play the same way as we do in the Premier League. Because it's slower. Instead of imposing our style on our opponents, we go, oh, right, okay, well, how do we contain them? Instead of going, right, this is how we play. Let's just fucking go. Let's go at them, and let's make them at least for the first 20 minutes, we'll just go and play the way we do in the Prem, and then see how that works out for us there. If they can't handle us, great, we'll carry on with it. But if it's not working and we need to change it and we need to be a little bit more reserved, a bit more tactical about it, then we can do that and we can adjust things. But we don't ever do that, which I find a bit frustrating. And like I said, I don't think Southgate will do that. He'll have his set way he wants to play, and we'll see from there. But yeah, I'm not expecting a lot from us, if I'm perfectly honest. Just on the basis that I think it's probably more for the World Cup is probably when this team will be ready, I think.
Yeah, that was always the target, wasn't it? The 2022 World Cup, whether it, the opportunity to hopefully win the World Cup. But we've never won the Euros, so it'd be nice to do it. I don't think this team's going to go that far. Lovely, wouldn't it? It'd be bloody lovely, but I don't see it happening. I don't think it's going to happen. Just look at the squad and just think, meh. I feel sorry for Harry Kane because he's going to be out of the squad by the time if they ever become serial winners, he won't be playing for them because he'll be like, what is he now, 27?
Yeah, he's 27, yeah.
So he'll play in 2022. Maybe he'll play in the European Championships after that. But as somebody pointed out to me this week, there are a few players like was it Sancho that was in the under 17s World Cup winning squad in India that went to India?
Foden was as well. I think it was Mason Mount.
Yeah, I think it might have been. There are World Cup winners in that squad. Well, youth World Cup winners, but still World Cup winners. So maybe. Yeah,
Jude Bellingham was in the famous under 12 side that won the under 12s World Cup as well.
Oh, did not know that. No,
it's because I made it up. But
right. I was going to say, I was like, I did not realise there was an under 12s World Cup. I'm like, is there that level?
You know what? Do you know what? If there was, then he would have done it.
Tiddlywinks World Cup. Speaking of the World Cup, there's been a World Cup qualifier. And I bring this up because India and Qatar have played a real life game of FIFA. So in FIFA where you dominate the game and then you get dicked.
Mm-hmm.
So Qatar dominated this game against 10 men of India. So one of their players got sent off in the 17th minute. 33rd minute, Qatar score. That's it. Qatar 1, India 0. But Qatar had 38 shots at goal. India had 1. 10 of them were on target. 75% possession for Qatar. 659 passes for Qatar to a pass accuracy of 91%. They had 8 corners and were caught offside twice. They had 75% possession and 38 shots, and they only won 1-0. That is FIFA. I
bet if you watch the highlights on that, I bet the Indian keeper had the game of his life.
I mean, only 10 of those shots were on target, so he saved 9 of them. There you go.
Still, yeah.
Still, he must be like, get me to Manchester United or Chelsea or somewhere. Get me a transfer, please, taxi. And that was this week's edition of the Football Fan Show podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in that real-life game of FIFA between Qatar and India. At the end there, got to go watch the highlights of that one. It might just be the greatest game you've ever seen. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back during the Euros, and don't forget our podcast specials of our reviews of the season. 2 parts to that one. We're giving away prizes like Best Player of the Year, Worst Player of the Year, and then we're giving out the more interesting prizes, including Dick of the Year and Shithouse of the Year. So please tune in for that as when the podcast drops over the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much for tuning in. Liam Barry will also be my guest for those 2 podcasts as well. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. We'll see you next weekend for the next edition of the Football Fan Show podcast.